Hello, and welcome to Twin Peaking, where I showed my friend Jay my personal list of worst to best episodes of Twin Peaks, and she sees if she can figure out what the show is. If you're liking the show, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and tell anyone you think might be interested. Also, please make sure to go follow my friend Jay at twitch.tv/JanuaryK. That's January K-A-Y. Without further ado, let's get into it. Hey Jay, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Mac?
Hanging in there, doing all right.
Yeah.
That's a lie. I've been very public that's a lie. So before we started, there were two separate times that we were both about to start yapping.
Yeah.
about this, and then we realized, no, we have to save it for this.
Yes.
So let's start with yours.
Okay. When we were setting up and we noticed what episode we're watching today, I was going to say, ooh, a season 1 episode. I haven't seen one in a really long time, and so I'm very excited. But I'm also surprised because because I've glanced over the list like a couple times, but I haven't locked it in memory. And so I was under the assumption that a lot of the season 1 episodes were closer to that I'm gonna see at the end of this project, more near the tail end, and so that's why I'm surprised that we're in the mid spot now. We're in the mid range, I think, of episodes. So I'm surprised that there's a season 1 episode here. I'm not complaining. I'm just surprised. So
well,
yeah.
I think if we lay it out like there's 48 episodes altogether. This is episode 25 that we're doing, which means that this is the actual midway mark. This one in the next episode, right?
Shit. Oh, okay.
And this will be the 4th season 1 episode that we've seen, which is exactly half of season 1. So I think that kind of tracks. There's a lot of
when you put it that way,
yeah. There's a lot of because season 1 is so much shorter than the other 2 seasons.
Okay.
Like a lot of the early stuff is season 2, and a lot of the later stuff is season 3 for me personally, with a little bit sprinkled in of each, right? In each end. But season 1 is so short that I think it just kind of naturally self-divided that way.
Okay, I see.
Because I don't think you're necessarily wrong as we're looking at the list farther up, there's big gaps in between what's what for those, and that's just because there is only 8 episodes, right?
Right.
So yeah, that said, I opened up and saw what this was, and I think people are seeing which one this is, and I'm like, oh my god, we're watching this now? This is a good episode. Not to hype it up too much for you, but this is a good episode. I'm excited. A good, strong episode. And I'm like,
okay.
Well, I mean, we were in stuff that we were just very much enjoying the last few times.
Yes.
So we're in it now, but I guess I'm just kind of, every time we're going to get to a new episode, I'm going to be like, wow, this already? Until we're into the mid-teens where I'm like, this is about where everything should be. I think I'm surprised by my own list a little bit here. But yeah.
All right. I'm super excited.
Yeah. So as always, I do want to follow up. Did you watch any more of the Log Lady stuff?
I have not. Okay.
Okay.
I think I do plan on watching some this weekend. So this is, I'll keep you up to date next time we record then. So.
Okay. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Then we will do that. But I'm trying to remember to actually ask you about it now. Especially since you have been watching them the last few times. Yeah. So I think that it? Is that all the work we had to do?
I think so. I think you're right.
Okay. Well, then in that case, might as well get started. My groceries aren't actually here yet, so I may have to get up in the middle of a scene to go grab those. Okay. But yep, here we go.
Yay.
That just sounds very enthusiastic. I mean, because that's a hard thing to end on.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a good episode, though.
That is a very good episode.
That was season 1, episode 4, Rest in Pain.
Rest in Pain. Ooh.
Yeah. So, how'd you feel about the episode, Jay?
Oh man, it feels like it's a good episode, but it feels like the earlier Twin Peaks episodes, like we're back to murder mystery, we're back to trying to figure out the everything going on between Laura. It's a nice return to Laura too. I feel like we've been kind of far removed from Laura for the past couple episodes, and so it's nice that we're back in the realm of Laura directly. So it's a good episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything broader you want to touch on before we go scene by scene, or?
No, I think I'm ready. Let's just jump into it.
All right, yeah, sounds good to me. So we open with Audrey looking breathtaking. Both of us are just like, God, she's gorgeous in this. As she waits for Colonel Coop.
Colonel Coop.
Yeah, just Special Agent Dale Cooper. And as she like kind of seems to ambush him almost. In order to talk to him, and he seems receptive to it, but we're kind of unsure why. Because like there's a part as they go to sit down to eat that he has her write stuff down and compare it to a note he seems to have gotten earlier.
Yes.
Right. And so it's like, is he being receptive to this because it's like there's chemistry there, or is he being receptive because he needs
information?
Her to, right.
Yeah.
So, which I think is an interesting, fun kind of dynamic for him to have with her when she's clearly infatuated with him.
Yes.
Well, what'd you make of the scene? Because I'm going to separate this out from when Harry and Lucy arrive, because there's a lot there that needs to be separate, I feel like.
I can see, knowing that this is episode 4, I can see the stand shippers of Coop and Audrey together. There's a lot of, like, obviously from her end, there's a lot of goings-ons there, but like with Coop, he's very, you're right, there's a mix of he's trying to keep it professional and separate, but like, is he willing to blur those lines a little bit, or is it more so that he wants more information? It seems like it's a little bit of both. I get the vibe that's both from Coop in that sense. So yeah, I like it's a good starting scene.
There's something, and I want to kind of point this out here, or maybe not point it out, but like comment on it here.
Okay.
That like, compared to later Coop, not season 3 Coop to be clear, but like later Coop of like season 2, there does seem to be like a darkness or an edge to Coop throughout like this episode, in my opinion. Like it's a little bit sharper, a little bit like he says his goofballiness, but there is that like, am I leading this girl on to get information? Am I like, there's a little bit of like a, I don't know how else to put it besides an edge or perhaps a darkness in him that's not there later.
I did see that in a later scene. When we get to that scene, I'll point it out. But I did get the, like, in episode 1 or season 1 episode 2, where like Coop, like, he is so whimsy in that episode where he's like, I'll take what he it's his coffee order again, like, I'll take it black, or like, I can't remember what it was.
When he was talking to Pete, he was like, I want it black, and he's like, how black? And he's like, as dark as midnight on a moonless night, right?
Yes.
And there's still some of that here too.
Exactly, there's still some of it here, but it's not like it didn't make me laugh as much as I saw it in that first or second episode. So I do agree, there is something else there, and it's very obvious in the later scene, which I'll point out.
To be fair, even on that episode, I kind of brought this up a little bit on that season 1 episode 2, where I was like, yeah, even in these other, like that scene for sure, but then there's like later scenes where he's like being rude to people and being like not right, or maybe not rude, but like a sharpness to him that again, but by how we're used to Coop in season 2, he's not like rude or sharp. He's like kind of a sweetheart, like often, like you're saying, whimsy,
right?
But like kind of off in his own thing, but still able to solve crimes. Like,
yeah.
But like here we see like, oh, he is an FBI agent, even if he is whimsical as one. Like there is that like hardened layer beneath him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I had to go grab groceries. So did I miss anything while I was grabbing my groceries?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good. Because like he compared, I had to go get groceries, and I was like, hopefully there's nothing here, or if there is, Jay has to let me know, because when I get back, we have Harry and Lucy approach, and he sends Audrey away police business, and then orders his food, because there's this brilliant line where he's like he gets like ham and syrup and stuff. He's like, because nothing beats the taste sensation when ham when syrup collides with ham. It's so good. Like I love that. It's so funny.
That's good.
Yeah. Also, like, can we talk about it now? What the fuck is 3.5% milk?
Okay.
Because I had part of my groceries I had dropped off was milk, and like I'd gotten a call right before we started recording that like my 2% wasn't there, and it's like, hey, can I just get this red cap one? I'm like, yeah, fine. And I thought that was gonna be 1%, but when it arrived was 3.5% milk. I've never heard anything above 2 in the first place, but like,
what is a half percentage of, like, I don't understand, like why I guess legally, if that is the percentage it is, then sure, but like, why is that the percentage? Like, why not just round it to 4 or make less and make it 3%? Like, what is this half percentage of fat here? I don't understand.
Yeah, I have no clue, and it really confused me. And when I saw that, I had to tell you, but then we had to refocus on this scene.
Yeah.
and like that, we talked over the first part of the order because we were like, no, but what is that?
Yeah. What is 3.5%? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway. Oh Lord. So Harry and Lucy show up, and they're like, so you solved it. Who killed Laura Palmer? And he's like, Harry, let me tell you about my dream. Which is so choice. Do you want to go over the dreams because I don't know, I might let something spill, but I don't know how much you got. So
okay. Okay, I have a few notes. So it is, dream is a code that we have to crack to solve the murder. Crack the dream, crack the case kind of deal. That's what Coop said. I didn't catch like where in the dream that it happened. He was talking too fast. And he said, fire walk with me was in the dream. And then he talked about the one-armed man named Mike and a man, the evil guy named Bob. And then freaking, it didn't occur to me until Harry said it. But Harry said, Mike and Bobby. Like, is this what your dream means, that like Mike and Bobby are like? And then Coop immediately is like, no, a different Mike and a different Bob. And I thought that was funny.
Yes, and I love the line reading he gives because he's like, he used to go and kill with a man named Bob. Harry's like, Mike and Bobby. He's like, no, different Mike, different Bob. Like it's like two distinct periods of like different Mike, different Bob. Like I just love the breaking it up that way. It's so funny.
It's good.
Yeah.
And then I wrote that Mike shot Bob, and now Bob is like evil, and then there was a beautiful woman who is Laura,
25 years later.
25 years later, a beautiful woman named Laura whispered in his ear and named her killer in the Red Room. And Harry asks, what's his name? And then Coop says, I don't remember. And yeah, those are the notes I have of the dream here.
Yeah, so some things to point out. They use a little snippet of the dream. He also talks about a little man dancing and talking about how his favorite gum's gonna come back into style.
Yeah.
Which, as we remember from episode 9, was what the waiter said to Leland on the episode where we find where they catch Leland. Is your favorite gum is gonna come back into style. That's also the episode where supposedly what she whispered there was my father killed me. Which feels like he should have remembered that.
Yeah.
It feels like that's not cryptic, so you should have been able to remember it. But I'm not here to pick bones. But also, this is kind of a mirror of what we see in season 3, episode 1, where she comes over and whispers in his ear and then is ripped away. Or that's episode 2. My bad. I think that's episode 2.
Yeah, it's episode 2. Yeah.
Yeah, but is ripped away that way, right?
Yes.
And so, so some interesting things there. How are you feeling about we already have Bob being mentioned. We have we saw a little bit of the Red Room. It looked a little different, but we did see the Red Room, right? How's that feeling for you?
I am glad that this is introduced so early into season 1. I feel like now, because before, by the weird way that we're watching it, I didn't really get the supernatural stuff until maybe we were 10 episodes into our project, and so that's why I was so caught off guard with the supernatural-esque stuff, because I was it seems like it comes out of nowhere, but I'm glad that it is introduced so early of I had a dream, and then again, I was also under the impression that Harry needed convincing that of all this supernatural stuff, but then again it happens in that later scene, which I want to talk about later when it comes up. But Harry, it makes sense how Harry is on board because of that later scene. And so I feel I'm happy about it. I'm happy that it doesn't it. I was under the impression early in the project as the supernatural stuff came up that it was just an afterthought kind of deal of oh, we need somehow I brought this series up multiple times during this project, but it's kind of how Riverdale started, where Riverdale was very much a murder mystery in season 1, and then in season 2 it seems like the writers ran out of ideas, so then they just threw in a bunch of supernatural stuff and a musical episode, and then everyone freaking hated it. And so I was worried that the supernatural stuff was just an afterthought of okay, how do we push the plot forward? But it is very much cemented in the first season, and I'm glad to see that. So that makes me happy seeing all this stuff.
The way I describe the supernatural stuff here is it might be true or it might be not, but it is it is kind of that it has a vibe that the spiritual stuff could be true.
Yes.
Right, but it's not it's also not so far in the other direction of wizards or you know what I mean? It's not so far in the other direction of how some of season 2's ending stuff gets with the supernatural stuff either, right? Where it's here's all of this, right? It's
right.
It's a nice little sprinkling of it that makes it apparent and so prevalent, but also not it's not overbearing with it either. So yeah, but like as it was popping up, I was excited because like you gave the vibe that you thought that it was introduced later, and so I was really excited to get to like some of the earlier stuff where it was kind of already there, so you could see that, Bob being a big part of that, of like, shit already, like, right?
Yeah. It's nice to see that those seeds are planted properly. You know, you can tell that it is thought out now. Like I can see that, like, oh, it was actually always meant to be here, kind of deal. So I'm glad I got the foundation now. I have the foundation of the house. I saw the house and now I see the foundation. I'm like, you know what? That's a good foundation. You know, so it makes me happy.
Lucy's also there taking notes, and it's very funny.
Yes, I love Lucy.
Yes. One of the few times we see her outside of the police station or the Twin Peaks thing. Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, so after that, they get a call to go down to the coroner's because Albert is having a fight with Dr. Hayward. Where Albert's like, I need to do an autopsy. I need to do my job and do this work. And they're like, you're not going to do that because we need to bury her. And he's like, you can bury her tomorrow. Like, like, I need to do this now, but when she's in the ground, I can't do my job. I'm definitely putting a tilt on this, a lens on this that clearly makes it where I come from, where I stand on this argument. Sorry, I should probably... They're arguing about how to handle Laura's body, and it seems like the police force here is not equipped for murder because no one wants to do a real autopsy. Sorry, again, letting it slip. This frustrates me so much.
I understand, like, because not an argument, but we had a very hot debate about Albert, like in a previous podcast episode. And like, you were very hardcore on Albert. And like, I understood where you were coming from, but I was like, but why, Mac? And so like, now that I can see how much pushback Albert was getting, like, I understand now where that comes from, because I was like, yeah, why don't they do the autopsy on Laura?
Right.
Like I feel like, you know, there's literally two FBI agents. There's Albert and there's Coop here to solve this girl's murder. And if they can't do the full capacity of their job, then they're not going to be able to solve the murder. So like, it was just it was an odd scene to watch. I can understand Doc Hayward's hesitancy because like he knows Laura, right? Like Donna's friend.
Reportedly,
Laura,
he was the one who like helped like birth her, like the doctor that did that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I completely, and so like, you know, to see Albert take basically a drill to Laura's forehead and like, you know, Doc Hayward unplugged the drill afterwards. Like I understood that because that's like a little
but then you need to excuse yourself. You don't get to tell him not to do his job.
Exactly. Yes. I understood where Doc was coming from 100%, but like Albert is there to do his job. Like he and I understand the context of like our debate in a previous episode of like, why is Mac going, like clearly Albert's the asshole in this scene. Like, but like now I get why. I understand where that comes from now, because he is definitely getting the short end of the stick. In this scene and scenes from the town in general, for sure.
Even before all this, though, he is clearly insulting them, but like he is being he's being hamstrung the entire time. So like, of course, that frustration is going to come out. You also have to picture that like he's an FBI coroner. He's not like a city coroner where it's like, oh, this is my job and I have my little space here. He has to go into other people's spaces and be like, I need to take over here. How many times do you think he's come across this exact thing? Right? Like of course he's going to be like, you fucking idiots, let me do my job, please. I'm good at my job. Just get out of my way, right? Like I feel that in my core.
Yeah, I get that. I understand that.
Also, like, I love his insults. Like, this is a treasure trove right here of like all the way through. He's so good.
Yes.
He's so funny. All the way through.
I do think that is a like I'm again like we're gonna rehash this argument again, but like I do think that Albert's abrasiveness and his insults
it doesn't help him. Yeah,
it
for sure.
doesn't help him for sure. Like if he were to be just a little bit more sympathetic of like, you know, like Doc Hayward literally saw Laura be born, and like you're gonna immediately come in there, insult them, and take a drill to Laura's head. Like, of course Doc Hayward's gonna be upset. Of course he's going to push back a lot because you come into his space and basically say, you know, Albert didn't say that he was a piece of shit, but he did say, like, you know, like the technology is primitive here, and like, you know, like there's an air of arrogance to Albert that does not help him, you know, in this situation for sure. But like I understand, I 100% understand his frustration, you know, because like at the end of the day he is there to do his job, and if he can't do his job, then why the frick did he travel to this middle of buckfuck nowhere town, you know? Like,
yeah, exactly.
He might as well not have been there. So like I understand the frustrations on both sides a bit better.
In addition to that, like you have to, like, the person who has the most respect for Laura in that entire scene is Albert. Because everyone else is like, no, we need to be respectful and let her be buried or whatever. And he's like, I want to catch her killer. I want to get the person who did this. I want to, you know, like actually see like justice come to fruition for her. Right. But then like everyone else is pretending to have so much love and respect for Laura, and we see this later in the actual funeral scene. Bobby's 100% correct.
Yes, Bobby's 100%. Yes,
and I was about to say
it's reflected exactly. I was literally about to say this is echoed exactly as in at the funeral with Bobby. Exactly 100%. It's an echo of that. Yeah,
and so like out of the people in this room who have respect for Laura, Albert's the one who's respecting her the most by being like, I need to be able to do this. We can. He even says like we can have the funeral later. He's not saying like we're not gonna do this. He's like, I need to do this now. You guys can have a funeral later, right?
Yeah.
And so this whole scene, like, and then so after all of that, so they're having this argument, and he has some really good choice of being like, listen, I know part of your job is to be a leader in this town, like to Ben Horn, right? And he's like, and I know that comes with a certain irritating way of speaking, which is so good because 100% he is kind of like smarmy and whatever, right? So he's like, I understand that comes with the job. You know, it doesn't come with the job, stupidity. So you could get them out of here and let me do my job and do the smart thing, or like he's like, I'm letting you have the opportunity to be intelligent here, so please be intelligent, right? Like he's just so full of them. And as that all happens, Harry and Coop come in. And immediately Albert's like, listen, Coop, please. You know I don't deal with idiots well, and I don't deal with idiots with badges even worse. Like, I don't tolerate that, which, like, yeah, fair enough. If someone has a badge, they should be held to a higher standard. But like Harry's like, no, we're gonna do the dumb thing and bury him. And Coop takes Harry's side. Like, it bugs me so much.
I had a feeling that was gonna bug you.
yeah, because like if anyone should understand this, like maybe they don't have a lot of murders in this small town, and so when he signed up for sheriff, he didn't know what he was fully signing up for. Whatever, like fine, right? Coop should know how important an autopsy is.
Yes.
There's almost like an entire thing in like Missing Pieces and Fire Walk With Me where we see that that's important. So why does he do this? And like also what also bugs me is that like Harry, I mean, it's the worst sucker punch in history because it's like a huge wind up, but he does sucker punch Albert onto Laura Palmer's body. And Albert's been hit by this guy with a badge because he couldn't control his temper.
Right.
And that's not going to get reported.
Yeah.
Albert was correct to file a report. Coop should have signed that. Even if Coop signed it and gave his own remarks of like, well, like, here's the extenuating circumstances, he should have signed it. Instead, he threatens him.
Right.
Oh, man. Like, Albert is done so dirty in this scene. Like, he gets hit. Like, he gets fully punched by this man. Oh, okay.
Poor Mac. Poor Albert.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have anything
I do
about
think when Harry punches Albert and Albert lands on Laura, it's just like, man, let Laura rest. Like the thing that like bothered me is like they're fighting in front of Laura, and like I know Laura's dead, but I'm very much a firm believer of like, you know, the like even if they're dead, you still don't really, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't if my dad died, I wouldn't fight in front of my dad with my mom. You know what I mean? Like there's like a level of spirituality there that's like, ooh, like Laura's already been through so much, you know, like she has to be, you know, autopsied by the man who saw her be born, and then, you know, and then they're like fight. I don't know, it just like I just felt so sorry for Laura in this scene of like, now she's got like this random stranger Albert on top of her, and like she can't do anything about it, and it's just like oh, this poor girl. And then like this is what made me happy is like Coop, you know, took the time to, you know, set her properly and put her arm back, and it's just like she's still a human, she's still a person. And
right.
I think that's where Coop comes from when he confronts Albert in that later scene where he's like, I'm not gonna sign it. And like, it doesn't make it right, but I do think, you know, Coop seeing Laura like that, I think that plays a part into it. And like, it makes sense. The series of events makes sense to me of like why Coop didn't sign the assault form. Why he is the last to leave the room to make sure that Laura is set properly and she's back to her proper space, and like he takes a moment, you know, and like it also, like, just as a side, like as a whole, Coop is, you can tell Coop's determination is set in to solve Laura's murder throughout this episode with little moments like that, and it's just like I like that about Coop to wrap this scene up is that. So.
No, and it's definitely intentional to have this all happening in front of her body and have this all like, right, like. There's a different form of this scene where like as it's happening they like step out or they go behind the curtain or whatever to like argue it out, and it doesn't have the same impact, right? Yes, yeah, exactly. Like you're absolutely correct, because the person who is most wronged by this in every sense of the word is Laura, not just for being murdered, but like for like how everyone's reacting to it afterwards. Yes, exactly, 100%. Yeah. So from there, we go to the Palmer house. First, we open with Invitation to Love, which introduces a guy named Chet, which is a name that we recognize from Missing Pieces. As well as, like, there's a woman who's playing two separate Emerald and Jade, and it's played by the same actress. Right as we get introduced to Maddie, it's so choice to do that. It's, because they're like, we know this is soap opera. Like what we're doing, what we're about to do, we know that's soap opera, and we love it. Like, right? Like is this your first time seeing Invitation to Love, or did we see another episode of that once before? I think there was one other episode where it comes up on the TV. Right, because that's the one where Lucy was watching, and they're like, what's going on, Lucy? Yes, and then she recaps what happens in the episode, and they're like, no, here. But like what happened in the episode is like what's happening in the show. Yes, so it worked out. Yeah. Those are really interesting, and I wish we had more of those. Each of the Invitations to Love, if I remember correctly, is directed by Mark Frost. Oh, like just that segment of the show, like the TV show. It's very good. It's and I wish we got more of it. But we see Leland Palmer getting his blood drawn. I could only think of Mr. Palmer, and I was like, fucking hell, man. We see Leland getting his blood drawn, or perhaps a sedative being put in, something like that.
Yeah, I wasn't 100% of what was going on there.
Yeah. So he has brown hair. You've seen that a few times, but I think this is like other times you saw him, we were in the middle of bad parts of season 2, I believe. And so he wasn't in the show. And then since he's been in the show, besides a couple of other times in season 1, he's had white hair. Yes. So I think this is the first time we've been back to this where he has brown hair. Yeah. Which is interesting. And then Maddie comes in. Do you think this is the first time we meet Maddie?
I do think this is the first time we meet Maddie. Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Sure. Like they signpost it pretty heavily. I'm like, oh, who's this character? She is so pretty. Oh my God. I love her. So, Jolie is just gorgeous. And then you put glasses on her and it's like, oh Lord, I can't. But yeah, so she's there. She's Laura Palmer's cousin, Maddie.
Yay.
Were you expecting her this early?
I was wondering when she was going to show up, because she dies. So I was like, how fast is her introduction to death? You know what I mean? So I was wondering when she would show up. So I'm glad that she shows up this early to set up her character more. So I imagine that she'll get more character development as we watch more of season 1. So
yeah, because we did see her in episode 7 of season 1, which I can't remember all the episodes we've seen in season 1. We saw her in that episode. We saw that episode. We saw season 2 episode, or episode 2 of season 1. One other and this one, but I can't remember if that's 5 or not, or 6. It's either 5 or 6. I don't remember which. But, it's 5. We saw the one that's right after this.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So that's kind of nice. Anything to bring up about that besides?
No, I think
her introduction.
I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. No, they have a really sweet hug and stuff, which reminded me of how you had brought up knowing that she was going to be murdered, how sad that was in a different episode, and having her walk in knowing what's going to happen to her like we do this way. You're like, oh, this is the start of her getting murdered,
right?
In a whole, this is a different show for us because for a lot of people this is the murder of Laura Palmer, but kind of in a way this segment for us is the murder of Maddie Ferguson, where we know she's gonna be murdered, and now we're piecing back together the sequences that led up to that, right?
Right.
Because and even God, Maddie gets the worst rub of it all because even after they catch her, it's we caught Laura Palmer's murderer, not Maddie Ferguson's murderer. Right?
Yeah.
Everyone thinks, Laura Palmer's the one haunting the show afterwards, right? Maddie just goes away. Yeah. She just shows up here, but there's a different version of this show, and that would be a fun recut to do. It's recut it so it's about Maddie. Of we see that she dies, we see whatever, and then piece together the stuff leading up to it that was involved in this other murder that led to her death, right? Yeah. But I felt a certain kind of way when she walked up, and I was like, oh, it's such a bad analogy, but I remember an episode of Yu-Gi-Oh where someone plays a card that's it's like that candle card where it's in 13 turns this person automatically loses or whatever. And in Yu-Gi-Oh, when they play the card game, sometimes they bet their souls, and this is a soul thing. And so in 13 turns, this guy dies. It kind of in a less anime dumb way than that. This kind of feels like that when she walks up, and you're like, oh, there, you can see the clock. You're like, oh, yeah. We're in her last week of life or so.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
heavy stuff.
Heavy stuff as I bring up Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
So we go to the double R where Norma sees the headshots of Hank, and Hank's lawyer's like, hey, he could get out pretty soon.
Right.
And as long as you can show up, say that he's going to have gainful employment, he should be out. And she's like, okay, I can do that. And then he starts hitting on her. It's like so weird because like he knows Hank and knows what Hank's done in there and who he is as a person. Why, like the way she shuts that down is like, oh, I usually tell them that like I have a, you know, homicidally jealous husband who's doing 3 to 5 but should get out soon. But like he's the lawyer, he knows what's going on there.
He knows that. Yeah, I felt kind of icky. I was
oh
like,
sure, like it's gross that he's hitting on her like that in the first place while being the lawyer for the husband. But like it also doesn't make sense is the thing that gets me.
That's fair. That's very fair.
Like it's one thing for her to be hit on and that's gross. It's another thing for him to be like so catastrophically stupid. Like or for him to be. Sorry, I think I said her. For him to be so stupid, right? Like
right.
Absolutely ridiculous that he would shoot a shot there. Like anything to say about this?
No, I feel like I think like going forward, I'm going to until like certain, if she shows up in season 3 with Ed, like my opinion of Norma is going to be the same now. Of poor Norma, I can't wait until she gets with Ed properly, kind of deal with these episodes. Cause yeah, it's frick Hank. I hate that guy. Screw him.
Yeah, I mean,
anyway.
This is clearly before we're ever actually introduced to him, which we saw in episode 5. We saw his introduction, but this is like a preemptive introduction to it, right? He's about to come back. So we get to Coop at Leo's. Leo is fit.
Yes.
That's just stood out to me this episode. Is like he's in shit. Like he looks good in this little comfy sweater later. Like he's wearing the hell out of that sweater. But yeah,
Leo's a good looking guy. Like he's not like he is like, I can see, you know, there's a we don't ever see it, but there's a time where Shelley falls in love with him, right?
Sure, yeah.
And like, you know, like it's just interesting that like he looks good chopping wood. He's like a manly man, like chopping wood there on the farm thing. So yeah.
Yeah. So we get a lot of weird cuts. The end of this episode has a cut. I should say weird, but it is like hard cuts. It's not
yes,
which I think is weird for this show. Usually there's like a transition scene or like
that's fair
crossfade or something, right? And this director, I think Tina something, I don't think she directs another episode of Twin Peaks off the top of my head. I do like it though. Clearly, I love this episode. I think it's great, and I think the hard cuts actually work. And I think it works for the tone of this episode because it is like so like it's Laura's funeral and how everyone's dealing with it and the harsh emotions that come with that. I think that the hard cuts work to kind of facilitate that emotion. So I don't think it's a negative. Just stood out to me watching this time of like, oh, that's not a normal Twin Peaks style edit or cut, you know? Yeah. And that may not be the director, that could be the editor, and I didn't look at who the editor was this time. So when Coop's there at Leo's with Hank, what's really interesting about this is like, I love this. He's like, Harry's like, we just have to ask you some questions, and Coop starts to Leo, is that short for Leonard? And Leo's like, is that a question? Like it's simultaneously angry and confused. Like, what is this that you're doing?
Why are you here?
Which actually, like, like knowing what we know, that he's not responsible for Laura Palmer's murder, but is responsible for other crimes, it makes sense that he's like, why are you here? I have nothing to do with that. Like, of course he'd be upset at like being suspected at that. And then also he needs to hide his actual real crime business.
Right.
so it's like layers of like being upset. But like, actually, like, is Semi justified in this particular instance of being like, he's not the guy who did it?
Yeah.
Right? He still deserves to get caught for all the other shit he's done. But
I agree.
It is funny when you know what's going on. Like, of course he's indignant about this. Right? But it starts with that, and then like Coop asks if he had a criminal record, and he's like no, and then Coop lists off his criminal record.
You're lying.
yeah. Like that kind of stuff. Like, we don't see that in later seasons.
Yes.
Right. Like that's like setting people up to then get them in the lie, or like to like show somebody down. Like he would open with that information. And like lay the cards on the table and then go after the person that way in later seasons. So like, again, I think that's interesting.
Yes.
And I think that's important for certain discussions that happen later that we won't get to until the end of our series. But yeah, he has that style in him for sure. Anything about this interaction between everybody? This is the first time that Coop meets Leo pretty clearly, right?
Yes,
so like,
I had that revelation as Coop and Harry were walking up towards Leo. I was like, I don't think I've ever seen Coop and Leo interact on this kind of level before. So I thought that was interesting. So yeah.
Anything about that little interaction between them besides that?
No,
it's interesting to see it happen for once.
Yeah, it's interesting to see it. I'm glad that they at least try to investigate him and ask him questions. So because that didn't happen yet. As far as I know, they haven't even talked to Leo yet. So that's good to see. So yeah.
The most you've seen is that they break into a house. Not break into, they had a warrant, but they break into a house and find Leo's old shirt, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, so after this, we see Bobby smoking in front of Jesus, and then...
Yeah.
And then his dad's like, put out the cigarette. He's like, you want to talk about smoking today of all days? And Dad's like, no, but put it out. It's a bad habit. Like,
yeah.
and you
Good job, Dad.
Yeah, Bobby does put it out. I love this scene.
It's a good scene between these two.
Yeah, like it really showcases that Bobby isn't like paying attention, but like it also showcases like his own hurt in a weird way. Like Bobby does such a good job here, Dana Ashbrook.
Yes.
Of like, because he's not interacting with the dad who's saying some great stuff, and I want to get into that as well. But like, as all of that's happening and giving this like overtone to it, he's like playing with the lighter, and like after shutting it once, he reopens it, and that now he's like kind of burning himself with it a bit,
right? Which
is like a typical like you know, someone
teenage shit.
Well, yeah, not necessarily just that. I was gonna talk about how like I've for years stopped cutting myself, but I have the most recent times I've self-harmed, and I am getting better at that. Has been with fire and lighters because it doesn't leave as much of a mark, but you're still doing the same thing. And so like there is that aspect of like that pain and hurt inside. At least this is how I read it, because I struggle with that in my own life. And so like if it was just like playing with it and like going over it, that's one thing. But then he like kept his hand over it and like lowered it on top of there like for an extended period of time. And that reads more to me as like focusing on a part of pain to not focus on the other parts of hurt that you have going on around you, and your dad lecturing you about, and like it is a lecture even if it comes from like a soft place, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so like that's how I read that scene, particularly with how it goes later.
Right.
Like I do think that there is a version of the scene where like if he was like disruptive in a different way at the funeral, I think you could read this as like teen shit, like you said. But like because of the way he interacts at that funeral, I read it as more of like self-harm. So
That's
yeah.
fair.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Papa Briggs is like going on about like, listen, anytime someone dies in war, it's too soon. And Laura also died too soon. And is like, I understand you don't want to talk to me, which leaves us in a stalemate because I want to impart wisdom on you. But I also respect that you don't want to engage in that. And I think that's fine as well. I can just do what I can. And it's also fine that you're not like it is a nice scene of like him again, brought this up before, but like there's a version of Briggs as the military dad who where he's like hard and like
rough. Yeah. Hardcore on Bobby. Yeah.
He has this like emotionality to him and spirituality to him at all times where it's like,
yes.
Yeah. Which is part of why I love his character so much. And then he's like, I'm just trying to tell you not to be afraid. At which point Bobby goes, afraid? Afraid? Yeah. Who's afraid? I'm going to turn that funeral upside down. And at that point, we as an audience, you've seen some more emotional stuff from Bobby.
Yeah.
But from what we saw of episode 2, you hadn't seen that. And I'm not going to say one way or the other on episode 1 or 3, whether we get some of that. But like, I think this sets us up to think he's going to turn it upside down in a more dick teen douchebag way than how he actually ends up doing it.
Yeah.
Right? Where he's like calling people out for being hypocrites.
Right.
About it. And then his mom shows up and is like, are you ready for the funeral? And she's wearing
she's got this big
pin.
Smile on her face, and she's like,
she's wearing a pin with a smiley face. Yeah. So that's the scene. How'd you feel about it? Because I talked about my stuff through that, and you were kind of just letting me go off. How'd you feel about this scene?
It makes sense that Bobby has the turnaround that he does by the end of season 2. Like, he has such good people around him. And it's interesting that that turnaround happens after Laura's death. You know, it's like interesting of that kind of framing aspect of it. Like, he has his dad, he has his mom, he has like to a certain extent like Ben Horn. Like, he works for Ben Horn for a little bit, and he has like that kind of edge too. It's just like, I don't know, it's very much like it's interesting that, like, I love Bobby. Bobby's one of my favorite characters, and like it's interesting to see his trajectory as a character from this to where he becomes, because he starts off like, you know, like especially in this scene, like he like you get the feeling that he's gonna be like a dirtbag teenager kind of deal, like I'm gonna rebel against my parents. And so to know it goes from this to like it starts in this episode where he calls everyone out at the funeral. Like, he's not just, you know, stereotypical dirtbag teenager. Like, he is like he's more real, like, of a character. Like, he's well more rounded out as a character in the series as a whole compared to other characters. And so it's I love seeing this side of Bobby, knowing where he'll end up. It just adds like a sprinkle to what I already love as a character. So yeah
100%. Also kind of sad since we saw where Briggs ends up last episode.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it is 25 years later, but apparently his body hasn't aged since around this time. Because they were saying it was like a 45-year-old man on the slab. Right. So yeah, that's a little bit sad there. So From there, we cut to Albert. I wrote this scene as Albert gives report, but before that, we have Harry and Coop walking down the hallway. Hawk comes up and says, "Still haven't found the one-armed man." And it's like, well, keep looking.
Yeah.
And then he takes off, and that's all we get of Hawk today. But you were like, Hawk, my love, immediately.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah. One of the best. This is where we find out that he's like the tracker of
the best tracker of the team. Yeah.
And Coop seems pretty excited about that. Then they walk in, and Albert gives his report, and we do see that he is quite good at his job, to be fair.
Yes.
Right? This is where we get, he found a chip inside Laura, or like a piece of a chip inside Laura Palmer's stomach that has the letter J. Mm-hmm. J.
Hi.
We also get he talks about how like there were 2 different types of twine fabric, so she was tied up at 2 different times, and then he talks about the way she was tied up last. Talks about how the killer had like washed his hands with soap and then leaned in and gave her a kiss. And drops like a whole bunch of evidence, essentially. Talks about the bird that scratched him. Also has one of my favorite insults that he ever gives. It's my favorite. It's because like Harry's like, like an animal. And then there's a beat, and then he like looks at Coop, and he's like, "Look, it's trying to think." I love it so much, and you know what? Harry deserved that one after what happened. In my opinion, he had it coming. And so then they're interrupted and told that it's time for the funeral, which they almost like. Harry definitely says to rub in Albert's face of like, see, you didn't get to do your job to make our job easier to catch the killer. And then that's where Albert pulls Coop aside and is like, also, you are a witness to the fact that I got assaulted.
Yep.
Here's my report. And Coop is like, I'm not going to sign that. Listen, here, murder isn't just a number or like a faceless number. It impacted the community. I've only been here a short time, which remember each episode is a day, and so he's only been here 4 days is how fast it took for him to turn around on Albert, who he called here. And he's like, and since I've been here, I've seen decency and kindness, and like knowing what's going on in Twin Peaks behind the scenes.
Yeah.
As we get deeper into the show, it's like, Coop, you don't know shit. Let Albert do his job. This is why you shouldn't lead with your emotions. Like, Jesus. But yeah, he tells Albert off for being like, listen, we're too used to murder because we solve big crimes. Like they don't feel that here, and we should respect that, which I do agree with to a degree. But also,
we're trying to solve a murder here. Exactly.
And also, he did get assaulted. Like you can't not report that. What you can do is like put your comments of like, I don't think it should be pursued further, but I am a witness, right? Like, yeah, I don't know. What? How you feel about all of this? I kind of did both parts of that together, but.
We already talked about it earlier with in regards to Albert. One thing that Coop says that I don't know if I'm misquoting it, but I wrote it in my notes that Coop says life has meaning here, which is interesting of him to say because life has meaning everywhere. But I think it shows where Coop's headspace is of like what he thinks of the town and the people that reside here in Twin Peaks. So interesting. And then he records a message to Diane and says, check my pension plan, real estate. I have a feeling it'll be cheap here. And I thought that was a fun end to the scene of like how Coop feels about the town and what he thinks of it. So
yeah, he fell in love immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I don't know if we've already passed it or if we're gonna go back to it or like there's because it is a hard cut at Leo's place that I was gonna talk about because that's where he's like, hey look, ducks.
Yeah.
the lake.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like he was so excited about ducks on the lake. Like it is very much like, oh, he's really fallen in love with this place and it's clouding his judgment. It's almost like that's a pattern for him. It's almost like it's a flaw. Falling in love clouds his judgment. Oh, I wonder if that comes up later. And so but yeah, so this one ends and then we get a pan across a bunch of ceramic figures, one of which has an eye patch. I don't know if you caught that or not.
I did catch that.
Okay, yeah, it's quite choice. And we pan across and we see Ed and Nadine. Ed's kind of standing there and Nadine like tackles him with a hug.
Is
almost
all over him. Oh my gosh.
She's like, last night was amazing. And he's like, yeah. And there's a line where she's like, is it like, do you love me? Or like something like that. And he's like, you bet.
Ed.
It's so funny. And he's like giving nothing in this scene.
He's not.
It's so funny
good.
how over and like she's all over him and he's all over it. Like
yeah.
It's so good. I don't remember what we've seen of episode 2 of this season. Do you think that Ed and Norma are already a thing, or is it like kind of a looking across like at each other type of thing?
No, they're definitely in season 1 episode 2. There's a scene of them like in the truck together. There's the Ed and Norma are in a truck. I think it's like the back of Ed's truck.
Oh, I think that was in Missing Pieces, but that also does answer the question. Yeah, that's 100% Missing Pieces, but it also does answer the question here.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's probably a scene in episode 2 as well that is with them, I'm sure. But I can't pick it out in my brain right now. But no, the one you're talking about is 100% Missing Pieces because they were kind of drunk in it and couldn't drive home yet.
Oh,
and we're doing
that's right. That's right.
That's Missing Pieces. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, answers the question though. No, because there's a scene, there's that really awkward scene with Nadine and Norma. I don't know if there's a scene between those two, but there's an awkward scene.
At the diner. That's right.
Well, it's at a store.
Was it the
because
store?
she's there getting cotton. No, she's getting cotton swabs. Cotton balls, right? Where she's like, yeah, while I was waiting, like my husband's at the yard, and while I was waiting for him to come home last night, do you know what I was thinking? And Norma's like standing there, like it's clear that they were together, and she's like, cotton balls. Like,
oh yes.
Yeah, it's a really interesting scene. Yeah, but here they're like she's like cuddling on him and stuff, and then someone pulls up on a bike, and she's like, "That's not your bike, is it?" And he's like, "No, it's James." And she's like, "James who? Remember, he lives with them."
I was about to say, Nadine, what's going on here, girly? Like,
I understand.
Clearly, she's not 100% there. She's,
even before she thought she was a teenager, she had kind of been off the rocker a little bit.
Yes.
I struggle to justify cheating. And I struggle to justify, right? And in this show, I kind of am just like, oh, it's soap opera, it's okay. But like, if you were to extrapolate, it's still incorrect. But when your partner is that far checked out, I understand it. Even if like the correct thing to do is like to try to get her, because like, what are you supposed to do in that situation?
Right.
Your partner's no longer a partner. You're now a caretaker, right? Like,
yes.
And so it's like you have a responsibility to do that because you married them, and like it is part of your responsibility to caretake to the best of your ability until you can't anymore, right?
Yeah.
But also, as part of that, it's like, at what point do you say, hey, like I am a caretaker. This isn't a partnership and I can't do this. And so like the cheating is still wrong, but I understand it more the more we see of like that dynamic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like there's layers to it, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's like even this show does a really good job of providing those layers to every situation. Like it's not as black and white as like, you know, Ed cheating on Norma and he's married to Nadine. Like there's layers here, right? Like even with Catherine and Ben Horn, like there's layers to the cheating where like Pete's kind of okay with it, you know, not even kind of, he's like into it kind of deal, right? There's layers of that situation that it's not as black and white as like, you know, Catherine scheming with Ben Horn. There's like a reason for the cheating there, and then there's like a reason for the cheating like in this situation, and it's not that we're justifying it. It's just there's just layers to it to consider when you're looking at it, right? Yeah. So, seeing Nadine in this state, like I love her, but like girl needed a proper therapist yesterday that is not Dr. Jacoby. Like she needs a real like city therapist kind of deal.
So first of all, that's very funny to be like like she needs a city therapist is a funny quote. But second of all, we see Dr. Jacoby working with Johnny, Audrey's brother, and who's clearly mentally disabled, and like he's doing a good job. There, so like
that's true.
We see him as this weirdo guy, which is true, but like there's a version of this where like professionally he actually does. He does do a good job. Like it's one of those ones where like when you look behind the curtain, like it's the same way like dentists don't take care of their teeth, right? Like that stereotype where like doctors who smoke, right? It's like, oh, this guy is off of it, but like when he's doing his job, he can help other people do it. Like, right? Which I think is really interesting about his character. Like he has some out there things that for Ben, but that ended up working.
Yes.
It's the thing. Right? Like Ben's whole Confederate arc, like it ended up working to get him out of there and to become a better person. Like,
that's so true.
so yeah, it's like, okay, Doc Jacoby, like I guess he's a good therapist, and that feels wrong to say out loud, right?
It feels wrong. But like the evidence is there. The evidence is there. So
yeah. So but no. Apparently in the books he did help treat Nadine even outside of the. He did help a little bit if we remember back when she had her trauma, because he's one of the people who helped get her into high school. But
right, that's right. Yes.
But outside of that, apparently in the books he had previously tried helping her. But hasn't continued. So, yep. So James comes in. This is so dumb. Oh my God, James can't make up his mind in a single decision he ever makes. James walks in and it's like, James, it's time for the funeral, and James is like, I'm not going. And it's like, but it's Laura, and he's like, I'm not going, and slaps the door. So he just walks in to like go, I'm not going twice, and leave. James.
James.
Okay. So here we get to the crown jewel of the episode, the funeral. Did you have anything to say about the whole James thing before I move on? Sorry.
No, there is a scene between James and the funeral, and that's Audrey looking through her secret hole.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And sees Dr. Jacoby help with Johnny. But that's pretty much that scene. Like, there isn't.
In my brain, I had just brought that up, so I skipped over it, but that's not incorrect. That is not incorrect. You are right. There's that scene where we see the hidey hole first, and then she goes in, peeks in, and sees her brother and Dr. Jacoby. Yep.
Yes.
Which is also nice. Surprisingly tender.
Yeah.
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 Especially
Like
with how
seeing him
we
there.
end the episode with him being like, I don't actually care about my patients. Like,
Right.
so he must be actually just really good at his job because like,
Yes.
yeah. But then, yeah, so we are at the funeral. The pastor's given a sermon about her being like headstrong and, you know, this, that, and the other. And Coop's just kind of like observing everyone. E and Audrey kind of make eyes at each other a little bit.
Yep.
So apparently, this is the only scene where Norma and Coop are in the same scene together.
Really? Really?
Yep.
Out of all the times that he goes to the diner, really?
Yeah. Or sorry, not Norma. Nadine. I misspoke.
Oh, Nadine.
And,
okay.
And names. And also both voting Ed. That's my bad. Nadine and Coop meet each other. That's my bad. Yes.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. If it was Norma, I would have been shocked.
No, later this episode they meet.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah, no, Nadine.
That's interesting.
Thank you for correcting me on that.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Because they don't really, there's no reason for those two to interact, really.
Nope.
Because Ed is kind of like the interactee for Coop in that realm.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
interesting.
Exactly.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they
Wow.
come close in the in an episode. I don't know if we'd seen that one yet, but they don't actually interact in that, or they're not in the same scene in that episode. They come close though, but this is the only one where
okay.
they're in the same scene together.
Okay. Interesting.
Yep. I think that's true. I'm like 90-something% sure that's true.
I wouldn't surprise me if that was
Yeah.
correct. It would not surprise me.
Yeah. Okay. So this funeral, the pastor's saying some shit. And,
Yes.
you know, I guess it's like trying to be respectful or whatever. But like, again, this is why like funerals are so fucking weird too. Like, is like, if the person had these problems, you can't exactly say it at their funeral, right? You
Right.
can't like bring up her coke addiction. You can't like bring
Yeah.
up, right? like so like it is weird, especially since she was so popular in town. So like it leans into that, but like it we're gonna talk about Bobby's scene in a second, but like even from this perspective, it feels like hypocritical. Like they're still not looking at her when they're doing this. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Like yeah, kind of bugs me in that way, but it's definitely intentional. So after he finishes giving his as he's talking, that's when James walks back up. Fucking James, man.
James. So James.
And then at that point, the sermon wraps up. Johnny goes, "Amen," and Bobby echoes it and gets pissed. And this is where he comes out, and he's like, we're all a bunch of hypocrites. And the interesting part is like he says we a lot. He's not excluding himself.
He's not including. Yes, exactly. He doesn't say you are all a bunch of hypocrites. He says we are a bunch of hypocrites.
Yeah, and the one time where he does say, you want to know who killed her? You all did. Or you did. And he says like, you want to know who killed her? You did. There's a beat. We all did. Like he's not excluding himself from that, from the culpability of seeing that she was in trouble. She was clearly a troubled person, had a lot going on, that wasn't good, wasn't healthy, and they all just decided to ignore that. And they're still deciding to ignore that by having this funeral here, and the pastor saying like oh, she was headstrong and impatient, and it's like no, she had like real problems, and like the fact that we're having this funeral in the first place rather than letting the autopsy happen and letting all the this is like the point where it's like we are the problem. Like yeah, the person who killed her is also the problem, and like yeah, all the stuff that happened to her, you know, is a problem.
Yeah.
But we let that happen. Like we are culpable in this, and yeah, it's real good.
It's good. Very good scene. Bobby does a good job. You can feel his pain, really.
Yeah.
Like, his actor is really good. You really feel like he knows he's also not at fault, you know? Like, there's a different universe where he says we, but it's not sincere. But, like, no, there's sincerity in his words of, like, we all did.
Yeah.
I put in my notes of everybody knew, which is what he says too, and it's just like it speaks to the secrets of the town too, like how everybody knows everything kind of deal. I really enjoyed here, like it's talking about like the town on a like meta level that I think Bobby doesn't realize more than he like in the show in general, right?
Yeah.
It's really cool to see this scene play out after seeing the other episodes, because like if you're watching this from the front end to the back, you know, you don't really get the meta-ness of what Bobby's talking about until you rewatch the show, you know? And so it's interesting, like you know, I'm getting this context. Like, that's what makes this project fun. It's stuff like this where like, oh, there's like meaning through his words here that you won't understand until you watch the whole series as a whole. And so like it's fun. Stuff like this is fun. Well, I like it.
There's also, because the last episode we had brought up that like a running theme in Twin Peaks was like, we don't know what's going on in each individual house.
Yeah.
And like the secrets are hidden in there. Versus like, but we all knew something was going on.
Yes.
Right? We may not know what exactly, but like we all saw her. Like we all saw what was like how she reacted to the world around her. Like there was a problem there and we did nothing about it, but we don't know what's going on in the house. And so like the like later that it's like her dad like killed and raped her. Like, like that's like, you know, like when you throw that also in there, it adds a whole other like layer to all of this. Right.
Yeah.
And speaking of that,
well,
actually,
yes,
so before that though, there's this, James is pissed about this.
Yes.
And like, I guess to a degree, it's like you're ruining this funeral. Like, but I do think that it was important to say there's no other time to call these people out like that.
Right. That's true. That's true.
So like I'm of mixed feelings about it. But like I think James reacting the way he did made it worse. James starts to go off, and so Bobby's like, all right, he's like, you're a dead man. And then like he says that at normal speed while it's slowed down. Then he says it again while it's slowed down. And then that same line is, I'm pretty sure it's the same line reading that was stitched to the front of that scene or to the start of that fight sequence. Well, fight, whatever, like the breaking up the fight, which is really interesting. That's like a weird, interesting choice. Don't hate it, but it is odd. Where people start to break them up, and as this is happening, both Palmers are there, and Leland starts to cry and falls on top of the casket, and then the casket has an issue, like hydraulics issue, so it keeps hiring and lowering with him on it. And Sarah Palmer says something interesting here about don't ruin this
too. Yeah.
Which really starts to, in the context of everything we know about what Leland has done. And in the context of the first time watching through, you could see this as like two people grieving and her just like having her own grief and kind of blaming Leland for his reactions to seeing his daughter there. And to a degree, I do think he does feel that way about it too.
Yeah.
Even like I'm more partial to the theory of like he does have an awareness of what's going on and he is an abuser, and it's not just a separate being, it is also him. I think even in that situation he could still feel those emotions though. Right at the funeral, and feel that, and like that's the horrific part of it, is that like it's not just one or the other,
right?
You know,
right?
But yeah, like her saying that, knowing what Leland's done, makes kind of like, on the meta level, she is the town as well, right? Of like, how much did she know?
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
pointing that out.
I thought it was, like, knowing the context of Laura's death now, of like that her dad, like the thing that got me, that was like, ugh, like I see what they're doing here, of like Laura's death and how she was like raped and murdered, but like emphasis on rape, and meanwhile she's being put into the ground of her final resting place and her dad is on top of her, kind of deal, like not letting her rest, kind of deal. Like, yes, it's a grieving aspect to it, but like knowing what happened is kind of like, it was like, what, like to me, I was like, oh, like they're saying stuff about this, like in this scene in particular, with Leland on top of her coffin like that. It was just like,
and the hydraulics going up and down,
and the
too,
hydraulics going up and down. Yeah, exactly. Like I was like, oh my god, like there is like the foreshadowing, and also like the like if you imagine rewatching this show now, knowing that, and like that hits you, like that hit me watching this for the first time. I was like, oh my god, like Jesus Christ, like what the hell? And so like it was just that point of that, it was that moment where I was like, man, there's a lot that this show has to say. I was very impressed.
It's with, extremely dense. It reminds me of like like, you haven't played Silent Hill 2, but there's a monster in there called Abstract Daddy.
Okay.
And I think that's the name that's been given to it by fans, to be fair. But it's this monster that is an like comes from a different girl who's there to try to find her mom, because we find out in her backstory, spoilers for Silent Hill 2, we find out in her backstory that like she had murdered her brother and her dad.
Okay.
And so she's come to Silent Hill to find her mom, to also kill her mom, is what's implied at the end. But like throughout it, like James is going through his own psychological, like pulling out stuff that happened, or like pulling out his own demons as its own thing in here. And so, but in one of the moments where they meet up and their kind of like demons kind of spill over into each other's interpretation of Silent Hill, we find out that like her dad had been like raping her, and that's why she, or at the very least sexually assaulting. It's very clear that that's what it is. And so that's why she went and killed them, and she's going to find her mom to kill her because her mom knew, right?
Yeah.
Very Twin Peaks inspired. They've been very open about, like, at least aesthetically, that Twin Peaks was a huge thing for them. But in that, there's this monster Abstract Daddy, and if you look at it, it has two legs, and then it looks like what looks like a bed frame, and then it's like two bodies wrapped under a cover, super gross, and it moves by like kind of like thrusting one body into another, and that's her monster.
Oh, interesting.
Right? And so like that's what I think of seeing this. Like even the first time before I knew Leland was like the monster that he is. To a degree, there's like, oh, this is uncomfortable grieving, and that's what kind of the show is a little bit about, that too, of like grief being uncomfortable, but like you need to like also be able to grieve and have support, like that's like a through line in the show as well. But like I think because of the hydraulic noises or something, even I got something like a sexual undertone to that, right? And right. Like Yeah, it is deeply uncomfortable. And like, again, on a first watch through, you could just think like, oh, it's uncomfortable grief that they also like. The show also does this thing because we're about to transition to Shelley telling this story to other people in a humorous way, which feels rude and disrespectful and kind of like, what the fuck, Shelley? But at the same time, like from an outside perspective, you're not part of all this. You're like, it is like
objectively it's funny.
Yeah, exactly. And like sometimes those things can be both, like something that's sad and horrific or like sad and like whatever can also be funny.
Right.
It doesn't have to just be one. And that is a way to process it, right? And like the show does that a lot, right? I think this one actually kind of misses it a little bit because Shelley's telling it to two strangers like at her job. It feels a little callous.
Yes.
In this specific instance of it.
Yeah, I was very much like, what the frick, Shelley? But like thinking about it, like, you know, objectively, like imagine you're a writer for the scene and you have to like explain it. And like, you know, Leland falls onto the coffin and the hydraulics fail and the hydraulics are going up and down, like objectively even explaining it is kind of funny. Like, it's exactly. Like shit. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, the Shelley also has layers, you know. She has layers too, so
for sure. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like it's doubly weird because like that's the girlfriend of the guy you were cheating on with, right?
Yeah, like, that's fair. Fair layers to that too, you know, like for sure.
But yeah, was there anything else about all of that you wanted to?
No, I think we can move on to the next scene here.
Okay, so we're at the double R, and the first thing we hear from Ed is, I don't think he's gonna be able to figure it out, and Harry's like, all right, well, he's like, I'll take that bet. And at first we're thinking about it because we just came off of the funeral of Laura Palmer. We think that's kind of, it's set up to make us think that that's what it's referring to.
Right.
Is the murder. But then Coop comes over, sits down, orders some pie and ice cream from Norma, who gives a look to Ed, and like he clocks that and is like, how long you been in love with Norma? Which luckily you've seen episode 2 because he did that to Josie and Harry, like with their tiny interaction. So that's what Harry's like talking about, is like, hi, I knew you'd do it, so now, you know, this is on you. Which is very cute and funny. Then they start to talk about how there's drugs coming over from the border because of you evil Canadians. And then they want Ed to go undercover, or like he's been on a stakeout and that's why he got drugged, and they think they caught someone. Ed's not a deputy though, so we're kind of blurring the lines of legality here. Coop.
Yeah.
This is why you needed to report about Albert and actually keep it. It's fine. There's some things that bug me about what's about to happen, but we'll talk about it.
Okay.
So Harry's like, listen, we're far away from society, and we like it that way, but that comes at a cost, essentially, that there's something like in this woods, whether you want to call it a present or a force, but there's something out there, right? And so they created a secret society that they call the Bookhouse Boys, where we see them do this little like scratch at their face, like by their eye. I've had you take note of that a few different times when like Harry, or not Harry, well Harry too, but Hawk and Ed run into each other and stuff. They'll do that to each other. So that's what that's referencing.
Okay.
They did it in episode 2 as well. So like they clearly already knew this was coming as a plot point. Yeah, so how's you had some opinions about this as well, yeah?
Okay, actually it's in the later scene that I have opinions on.
Okay.
Yeah, but Ed Ed is such an interesting character too. Like okay. Well, actually, a couple things. Actually, okay. First, Ed is a very interesting character. I like that. He has layers too. Like he's a stand-up guy, you know, he owns a home, he has a wife that he's cheating on, but you know, like he on all fronts he seems like just a regular guy, right? But then, you know, he's caught up with like the police department of like this Bookhouse Boys things. And how I like there's a scene that happens, or a line that happens where like, you know, Harry says, "Oh, Ed's undercover. He's been doing some undercover work for us." And then Coop says, "I didn't know you were a deputy, Ed." And Ed's like, "I'm not." But he says something that like I appreciate Ed for. He says like, someone selling drugs to high school kids, and I think that's everyone's business. Which I appreciate Ed for saying that, because I also agree. So that's I love it. Makes me like Ed just a little bit more than I already do. So I like Ed there. And then the thing that I really liked about this scene is I'm glad that it's Harry who says there's something in the woods. You know, there's a darkness to the woods, because previously it's Coop who alludes to that, right? And that's why I was like, you know, Coop is this I had the impression that like Coop is this like, you know, wacky FBI agent who believes in dreams. And you know, I was under the impression that Harry has been the straight shooter of like, I am the sheriff of this town, I'm gonna solve crimes, you know, kind of deal. But it's Harry who says there is something going on in the woods here, which makes it more believable to me that Harry is willing to go along with Coop's, you know, I had a dream kind of deal. Like that it makes it more believable that Harry is willing to believe Coop on all of those fronts. It adds that for me, because like I was trying to connect in my head, like how does Harry go from from what I saw of season 1 episode 2 is that Harry isn't 100% on board of Coop's kind of wackiness, you know, like his spirituality. Like he's not 100% there. And so I was wondering when is the connecting tissue of like when Harry turns around and becomes Cooper's boyfriend, right? Like I made that joke a lot so far. Yeah. And so I'm glad that it's Harry that brings up the woods here. And like he is the one who is like, yeah, there's something going on in this town. And I really appreciate that, because like it makes it more believable to me that Harry does turn around and backs Coop 100% from that point. So I like that.
So you brought up something I was wanting to question about a little bit too, because we clearly see that they are already kind of boyfriends in this episode.
Yeah.
Which means either something happens in episode 3 or Harry, there was a little misreading in episode 2 where they just already were tight. Yeah. Again, happened a lot earlier than so. Which do you think it is? Was like does something happen in episode 3, or are they like I don't either think way it's earlier than expected.
Yeah, it's earlier than expected. Like I don't think anything big happens, but maybe there is like it's a layer to Harry, right? In episode 2, like he seems standoffish, but maybe it's because maybe it's from a place of like Coop is new to the town and Harry is guarded because he doesn't know how to approach Coop with this kind of information. Like maybe he's more protective of the town, and like maybe in episode 3 he realizes that Coop is like can come to that place of that conclusion of like there's something dark in the woods kind of deal, and that's when he decides to trust him in this episode with that information. So that's where I feel like it comes from. Okay. As opposed to my previous theory, which is that Harry's a straight shooter, right? And so that's my opinion has changed on Harry of how he's perceived in that second episode there.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Okay.
This bugs me. I don't like it. I think it gives a little bit too much like words to the thing going on in Twin Peaks. I think it would still be fine on that aspect, but Harry of all people should not do it, because we had seen twice back to back in the episode where Harry is going to charge Ben Horn with the murder of Laura Palmer, if you remember, where like Harry's like, I don't, or Coop's like, I don't think it's him, and he's like, listen, I went on you with your dreams, visions, I went on you with like about to bet, I went with you on all this. We're going to charge him because we need to, right? Like
this needs to end. Yeah.
And so like that doesn't read quite right to me with that aspect. And then afterwards, when we get the Bob Leland episode that like increasingly I hate more and more the more I think about it, he is the one of being like, well, that can't be real though.
Right.
Spirits can't be real. And so then it's like, well, what are you talking? Are you just talking about how like being out in the woods with the like a lot of rain causes depression, and so people act a different way? Is that what you're talking about? Because that's not how you phrased it, dude. Right? Also, like, they bring up the Bookhouse Boys here. You've seen a lot of this stuff. James is part of the Bookhouse Boys. We're gonna talk about that in a second.
Yeah,
James is part of their secret society. Nothing in the rest of the show reflects that, in the way they treat James as a dumbass teenager, which he is. To be clear, they treat him correct in the rest of the episode, or in the rest of the series. They don't treat him correct here, because suddenly he's part of like this big like Bookhouse Boys like thing that you're doing. Like, what is this? Like, you have a secret society to do it. It doesn't fucking come up again, except for when you need Ed to go to Canada with you, Coop. Like, that's the only other time that this is relevant. So like, why did you introduce all of this stuff that like, I feel kind of like, I think this is the seed that leads to the worst parts of season 2 of like the Wyndham Earl, the Blue Book, the stuff like that, right? Where it's like spirituality, but here's the actual rules and what we're doing of that, and it's like, that's the less interesting version of it.
Right.
This is the less interesting version of it. And you gave that to Harry, who later doesn't believe in it in the first place.
That's fair. That's fair.
It bugs me.
That's fair. That's valid.
Like, even the first time I watched this, I was like, oh, okay, like, fine. I like the stuff that we were doing before, but now there's this society, and then it doesn't pop up again, and I was relieved.
Yeah.
But like, that just makes this stand out worse as a bad decision.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair.
You know?
Yep. Fair.
Thank you. Any comments on what I said about that, or just like,
no,
yeah, that's accurate?
I think I want to comment it on the next scene, which we'll talk about.
Yeah. So from there, they go to the Bookhouse, where it's shot a little bit differently, but we see this camera style and work again this episode a little bit later. But it looks really good. I really like it as they follow them into the Bookhouse, and then as they're following in, Harry's like, yeah, by the way, the coffee's free, and Coop's like, love to hear that. And we pan over, and they have oh my god, what's his name? He's a Renault, but Bernard, thank you. Bernard Renault. It pans over to Bernard Renault being illegally detained and captured with a gag in his mouth. Sorry, maybe I shouldn't have said that. I think I tilt my hand at this scene also bugging me. With James and I think we know the other guy's name is like Jimmy or something like that.
I put Joey. Heard Joey.
It's Joey.
It's Joey.
Notes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's Joey, because Joey does pop up a few times in season 1.
Okay.
Yeah. But like, basically in scenes like this where he just is like kind of there and people name him, but he doesn't say or do anything. Like, it's so funny.
Okay.
But yeah, so pans over to Bernard.
Okay.
And then Coop and Harry and them kind of question him about the drugs he's running and connections with Jacques, and if he knew Laura Palmer. I think that comes up at one point, which was weird. Yep. So there you go.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm describing the scene poorly because it bugs me.
That's
But
fair.
that's also what the scene is. That is what it is. They illegally detain this
Yes.
guy and then question him about his brother, and say like, "Hey, you had cocaine. You're really not going to sell it?" And he's like, "No, it's for me." And it's like, "Oh, did you know Laura?" No. And okay.
But you know how we mentioned about Coop in the darkness, that he has like an edge to him?
Yes.
He is immediately on board of like, yeah, like this illegally detained guy, like let's question him right now. He's kind of like into it. He's like, he immediately takes charge of like questioning Bernard here. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. Coop doesn't really have any questions. He just gets right into it there. James being part of the Bookhouse Boys, I was not
This is the part that bugs me. To be clear, the legal detention of that guy only bugs me as real life thing, but like I think it fits like with a thing that I've been talking about Coop. I think it still fits and it works.
That's fair.
That's not the part that bugs me. The part that bugs me is that like James is part of this group, and that like it looks like most of the police force is as well, which I guess is another layer of commentary of like good old boys clubs and like how. So I guess there is that layer of commentary, but we're supposed to be on their side about it. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
James shouldn't be there.
Yeah, James being there was a little odd to me. I was like, okay, from what I've seen him being portrayed as is that he is like, quote unquote, a bad boy, but like misunderstood bad boy trope kind of deal. And so the fact that he's part of like this like secret group, like where I don't know, it's just weird to me. It doesn't
by the
fit
police.
His character. Yeah, exactly. Led by the police. Like, it's just odd. Very strange. Very, very like, yeah, weird. Very freaking weird. So yeah, especially because like they question James about Laura's murder. I can't remember what episode, but
episode 2.
He's like detained. Yeah, he's detained for a little bit, and it's just I don't know. It's weird. Very I don't know. It doesn't fit. Like his puzzle piece doesn't fit basically in the scene.
For a thing that was clearly planned out about the Bookhouse, it just doesn't fit well into the narrative as a whole, right? Because you have James in there, but it's like, well, then why were they questioning him so hard in episode 2? Right?
Yes, exactly.
And then like a lot of the stuff later, it's like, what's any of that about? And then it's like about like the spiritual stuff. It's like, but like they already had it planned back then, because like in episode 2, they do the little signal to each other. So it's like they knew this was coming, but it just doesn't fit right. And like there's stuff that they do in this show that they clearly didn't know was coming that fits better.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that? How do you mess that up? I don't know. While they're questioning Jacques and like Bernard gives it all that information a little too easy, which Coop catches. Jacques is walking up to the Bang Bang Bar, the Roadhouse itself. And it's flashing a little light warning him to stay away. And so he runs off, calls Leo, who's looking very fine in that sweater. Like it just works. And also doesn't give villain vibes. He's looking fit and cozy. It's giving like, at worst, it's giving villain in a Christmas movie, but like not villain, but like the romantic secondary lead who doesn't get the girl. But like so like in the Christmas movie, they go to the Christmas town and he's like the lumber guy, and then there's like the secondary one at that Christmas town who like owns a store or whatever, and then there's the third actual boyfriend who's out of town. But then like this guy is the guy who falls off first, where it's like there's two people interested in the girl and he falls off first in order to make the actual love triangle happen later of the corporate guy and Christmas town guy. That's his role, is to fall off immediately out of the competition for this miraculously like woman that everyone wants for some reason.
Right.
That's who he is in this scene. But no, he's like talking about like his cocaine deals. It's fun. I like it.
Leo is a very interesting villain because like he subverts expectations a lot in small ways, like not in huge ways, but like for example, like objectively speaking, he is very well dressed in this scene. Like he's at
Yes.
like he could be like a bum and like, you know, have like a white tank top, like in his boxer shorts, like typical,
Right, yeah.
like what you expect of someone who abuses his wife, right? But
Yeah.
no, he's like at home in jeans, in a nice sweater, right? So there's like that. And then freaking like in another, I can't remember what episode it is, but like, you know, he's like cleaning, like he's on the
That's
on
missing
his hands
pieces
and
as well.
knees. Is it missing pieces? Okay, like he's like cleaning, like he's doing like, you know, what's typically in society labeled as like a quote unquote woman's job.
Well,
Like
to
he's
be
like
fair to
scrubbing
that-
the floor. I know, like he beats Shelly
No, I know.
later in that scene, but like
So-
it's just interesting that he has like these labels like on him that like he's basically not what I expect of a typical, you know, wife abuser kind of
Yeah.
deal. Like he's
Yeah.
small ways he subverts my expectations of like Leo is different. He's a different kind of guy.
Yeah, 100%. After that, because Jacques calls Leo to be like, hey, I need to get back to Canada. And Leo's like, fucking, are you sure? All right, got you. And takes him back to Canada. We get Harry and Josie doing their thing, where they're.
Yep.
I think it's the or I think it's the scene because they have a second scene of them, and I think it's in the second scene, but like it might have been the first. It's hard to remember because he's like, you're so beautiful. And my first thought was like, fucking talk about anything else. Anything else. And I'm like, no, at this part of the narrative, it's just him flirting with her and there's not a lot else going on that he knows of yet. And so
Right.
that's fine for now. But like the fact that that never changes, like it really hit me this time. I'd be like, talk about anything else. Anything else. About like I'm done with like how beautiful you are, Josie. like you are beautiful, you're gorgeous. But like anything else
Literally
to talk
anything
about.
else.
So they start like doing that, and then she's like, I think something's going to happen to me, and because you know, there's 2 books over in the safe, and like I think I overheard her talking about like with Ben about getting rid of me like Andrew, which knowing what actually happened with that
Yeah.
is pretty good. Like
Yep.
you know, good laying those seas. But the entire time Catherine's listening in on the speaker. It's a fun little thing there. Whether you know, at this point we don't know Josie is supposed to be a femme fatale. She's just a
Right.
woman in danger. But it is like in that aspect, it's kind of fun to see Catherine like one step ahead, and then later when we know that it is them matching wits and Harry's just a pawn in between them right now.
Yeah.
That's also fun. Of
Yes,
like her
yes.
listening in and being like, all right, I see what you're trying to do, and I'm gonna move direction this way. And the way that like she kind of it also like another piece that they clearly I don't think had planned but ended up working out is the way that she blames Catherine for Andrew's murder, and she kind of like rolls her eyes at it almost. I don't think that's the reaction someone would have if like her brother was actually murdered by
Right.
her, but knowing that
Right.
Andrew is alive at this
Yes.
point and doing
Yes.
his own thing, that is eye roll worthy of like,
Yeah.
whatever, like you know, like that there's stuff in there that I think this plotline is the one that, even though this is the messiest plotline, it's also the one that has most worked through all of the
Yes,
seasons.
yeah.
Like between the 2 seasons, it's the one that's like actually consistent in a weird way.
Yeah.
And I think that's because it's the most soap opera plotline.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think it's after this, because we go back to Harry and Josie. What happens there? I don't remember, because like I know that they go to do Josie leads Harry to the safe.
Yes.
opens it up, and there's only one book in there. And then we see, but I think this is in the second scene of them, yeah?
No. So Josie and Harry get the book. Catherine's listening, opens the safe. Catherine has the second book. And then she goes into a different room, and that's where Pete is.
Oh,
Pete,
so she's in the same room, though. Like, so there's the speaker that comes on. Okay, so this is all the first one. And so the second scene with Harry and Josie is just them making out?
Yes.
It's only there for them to make out?
Yes. Because
no, that
between
can't be right.
Yeah,
Why would they do that?
That's my notes. Because after Pete leaves, it's Dr. Jacoby and Laura with Coop.
That's what I thought. But then I saw that there's a second thing with Harry and Josie, and I couldn't think that it was just for them to make out.
No, it was just for them to make out. They make out for an incredibly uncomfortable amount of time.
Oh my god! And it's like intense making out. Okay, well, I guess we'll get to that later then. Yeah. Because. Yeah, so that's in the same room. What makes me laugh about this is she clearly got that out of the hiding place to hold on to it while Josie and Harry were talking about it, just to be like, haha, I have it here, like with me, like. No one would do that, but also feels in character for like
it's very
to be
in
the
character
extra, to be
for
extra
her,
about it, even by yourself. To be like, I actually have it here. Like that would feel satisfying to me. Like I would do that to be like, I'm gonna get this out of my secret hiding spot, so I can feel superior as they're falling into my trap, right?
Yeah.
So Josie leads, and there's a regular book, and Harry looks through it like he understands numbers, and is like, "There's nothing. I don't see anything wrong with it, but like, he's not an accountant. What the fuck would he know?"
Yeah.
And so she's holding on to it, and then we see her hide it behind this like panel, which means that everything on that panel in this desk is glued on there, so you can't actually use anything in that drawer of the desk. But she hides the book under there, and then as she does it, Pete walks into the room she was already in, and she calls him out of being like, next time you want to look into the safe, just let me know, don't hide around, like, and specifically linking Pete with Josie and being like, next time you and the widower want to do that, like or widow want to do that, like, let me know, like, I'll just show you, like, and it really does seem like Pete is against Catherine in this, like it's Pete versus Catherine.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I wanted to see how you felt about that, since like that's different than the dynamic you've seen from them.
It's different. I mean, it goes to show, it shows that Pete, they have their spats too, right? Like they're not all sunshine and rainbows over there kind of deal. So I'm glad that we get to see a little, that's what I like about this show, is that the relationships always in real life are not just one way, right? Like Pete is not constantly kissing the ground that Catherine walks on all the time. Like they have their couple spats too. And I appreciate that this show like shows all the different types of aspects that a relationship can have, so I thought it was
season episode 2 of that, like he also like is a cute, like that's the one I think where we find out they're sleeping in separate rooms, and that he has to do the oil on a different bed thing, and like we're seeing them play at odds against each other, and he like accuses her of putting the fish in the percolator earlier. So after this, we go to the Laura's headstone where Dr. Jacoby is, and he has a little thing about being like, I actually don't care about my patients, and
right?
And it's like that changed with Laura, and I feel guilty about that, right? Which I think is an interesting layer. This episode's about layers, character layers. I like it. For sure. Anything about that in particular that stood out to you that you want to talk about? Oh, he's not just saying that to Laura. Coop's there. Sorry, you should clarify. Coop's there, and it's who he's talking to when he talks about all this.
Yeah, I think it adds another layer to Dr. Jacoby, that he's not just like, a crazy guy, an asshole guy. He's he's got layers to him too. Yeah.
So in the book, he kind of loses his license, but it's like arguable whether he could get it back, but he doesn't want it. Like the book that takes place after this, but before season 3. And I'm only bringing this up to you because you have all the information that's relevant to it. Part of why he doesn't want to do it and why he goes on his new career path of being an influencer, and why he stops doing therapy and really goes to try to find himself and all of this, is because he's like, I don't know how I missed all the signs that Laura was being sexually abused by her father, and how I could have missed this. Right? I don't know how I could have. I'm a therapist. This was my job to see that. Right. And I don't know how I missed it. And carries this guilt about not seeing that. And we can kind of see seeds of that here of he doesn't know that that's what's happened to her, right? But he wasn't at the funeral, but he's feeling the same way that Bobby did of I was her therapist and I was caught up in my caring about a patient, and maybe that's in a sexual way. We've seen some gross stuff from him in that way, caring about her in a way that's inappropriate. Yeah. But this is the guilt of and that's what got her killed, is me being caught up in my own aspect of this. That's not in the book. That's me putting stuff I read in the book with this to kind of build my own thing about it. I see. I think that he feels guilty not just for lusting after a teenager, which is gross and bad. I actually don't know if he sees that as part of the problem or not, and I certainly hope he does. But I don't know that part. But he does feel a guilt about not just missing the signs, but being so caught up in caring about her for once, or not even caring about her makes it sound like he was seeing her for her and caring about her that way. He wasn't. He had done what everyone else had done and kind of wanted her to be a specific way and focused on that way of her. I see. So that's how I read this scene personally. Yeah. Which I think is interesting. Personally. So
yeah.
Yep. Anything else about that?
Nothing further there. Yeah.
Okay, so we're back to Harry and Josie where they make out. There is so much tongue.
Yeah.
We don't. It's not like Japanese porn level where their tongues are out and they're licking each other. But it is on the level of you see a lot of jaw movement and tongue. And then it looks like it's going to stop for a second. But then he just lays her on the ground and they keep doing it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
So then we cut to another scene that is shot in a similar way. I think we actually first cut to Coop and Hawk talking about the people's souls and spirits, and Hawk says he believes people have 3: one when they are awake, one when they dream, and a third one I can't remember. But he talks about that, and then Coop's well, where do you think Laura is now? And he's in the ground is the only thing we know for sure. Right. During this, it keeps cutting to in a way that I love the way that's just shot. And it's the same way it's shot at the book house, but here it has so much emotional weight just from camera and stuff going on of and Leland's acting, to be clear, but it's cutting to Leland kind of just swaying back and forth or whatever in the middle of a dance floor as people are dancing around him. I love the way this is shot. It's different than stuff we see in the rest of the show for the most part. Because he's kind of off center, not he is the focus, but he's not the focus as things cut in between. It's really nice. Very indie movie.
Yes.
Yes. And then as music starts to play, and at first he stays like the same way he is, but then he starts to like beg people to dance with him, trying to cut into different couples to get someone to dance with him, and no one's dancing with him, and he starts crying and melting down, and so Coop and Hawk go to help him and move him back home, and where he like cries home, and that's the end. We get a cut to the stoplight, which is very creepy as music's playing, and then we get the Laura Palmer face.
Yes.
How was that scene for you?
I liked that scene. One, there's a couple aspects. I did like that shot of Leland. It's kind of like not foreshadowing, but like it's interesting that he is the focus but not the focus, because like he is the one that Coop is looking for, but there's a bunch of shit in the way kind of deal. You know what I mean? Like they have to wade through, you know, the rest of the season before they get to the real culprit of Laura, which is Leland. And it's just like a little bit of like metatextual foreshadowing that's kind of interesting there that I really liked with that framing. Yeah. I also I love Hawk and Coop and them talking together. I don't know. I love Hawk, obviously. And just like, I don't know, seeing them talk to each other about, they mentioned they have a conversation about soul, which I think Hawk was the right person to talk about that with Coop. In that conversation, I thought that was a really good character moment between those two. And finally, Leland going crazy on the dance floor and Hawk and Coop taking him home is just interesting. You know, I don't know. I don't remember. No, it's not. Because like it's Hawk and Coop taking Leland home. For a second there in my head, I thought it was Hawk and Coop taking him into the jail cell, but no, I think it's Hawk and Harry that takes Leland into the jail cell, and Coop is watching them. I think that's how that scene plays out. When Leland
when
is
they
arrested.
do the switch around.
Yeah. I think it's that, but it would have been interesting to see that reflection. But it's still interesting because like it's the cops taking him home, whereas the cops are gonna take him to the. For me in my head, it was reflected like those two scenes echoed each other kind of deal. So I thought that was interesting.
Well, I'm sure he doesn't necessarily want to actually be home either. It has to, even as a rapist murderer, it has to feel more empty now, right? Like, and
no, I was more so talking about like just the action of the police carrying him. Yeah,
I was gonna relate it to like it probably feels like a jail of his own making at home.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
like having that in the house of like of the grief of this missing piece of the household there. Like that's why he's here in the first place, right? Like it doesn't sound like he wanted to go home when he said that. Yeah,
that's fair. Right? Yeah.
And so like to echo that even further that way. I also think like on a first watch through, and like there's, as much as I think it's important to think of Leland as an abuser and stuff like that for like what the show's really trying to go for and say, and like to have, I do think that there are parts where it's like it's good to kind of also separate it, because it's doing a lot of things at the same time, right? And so like the first watch through, and like even knowing what's going on, like it is still showing like uncomfortable grief and like the way grieving can happen, and like how like what, you know, which is good to put out there, whether or not he's the murderer, right? Like
right.
And you know, him being that just adds layers to it. But I think that like with the stuff that's pre-reveal, I think it's important to kind of have it, especially in season 1. I think it's important to have like you know, the reason people say you have a reading of something is because it doesn't mean, because there could be multiple readings of the same material, Right. And you can have multiple readings coexist at the same time where like it's like there's the reading of it where he's like the rapist murderer that he is, and then there's the reading of it where it's like, oh, here's portraying a family in grief.
Right.
And I think it's important to have both of those readings even as they like stack on top of each other, right?
Yeah.
So this one definitely leans more into one than the other, in my opinion. This scene,
that's fair.
But yeah, you're absolutely right about like retroactively having metatextual stuff in there of like he is the killer and who they are really like looking for, but there's a lot of shit in the way. Yeah. And how they actually almost end up getting him is because like he's basically begging for it at that point.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah. So now that we've talked through it, how'd you feel about the episode?
Good episode. Very good. I can see why people were hooked on this show back in the day. Very good episode. There's just Mac, I love that we're watching it this way because I get to experience I get to experience this episode for the first time, but knowing all the backstory of like what makes this episode good upon rewatch already, you know, it's a good episode if you're watching it front to back like normally, but it is an excellent episode knowing what happens afterwards. Like it adds to how good, like how well thought out certain things were with this series and how they were inserted in like small but very purposeful ways. And so I like it. It's a good episode in that aspect on all fronts.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. It sounds like you rate it pretty highly. Yes. Okay. So what do you think? Oh, I saved that for later. That's right. Do you agree with my rating of where we put it so far? Is this the best one we've seen so far?
Okay, let me look back at what we've seen so far. I do. It's really high up there for me. I will say it is a quite high up there episode. I don't think. Looking through my notes. Okay. It is like it's a better episode, but it's recalling back to there was a couple episodes where he had like a good back to back with.
Yeah.
And that is season 2 episode 3, season 1 episode 5. Like we had those two really good back-to-back episodes.
Right.
And this one is on par with that, but it's better. Like it's a better episode. But I really did like those. It reminds me of those two episodes, which was a little bit far back in terms of like our watch order, but
I wouldn't say it's too far back. That's like 30 and 31, and this is 24. There's 6 episodes in between that, and 3 of those are season 3. So
okay.
Right, like yeah, I think you also just might like the early parts of Twin Peaks. I think you might be the regular Twin Peaks fan of the like. If you watch this through normally, I think you would fall in love, absolutely love the first few sections of Twin Peaks, and then maybe you would have loathed that second part that we started with, having watched it and seen that fall off. Hearing how you talk about Riverdale, I think you would have hated that part that we actually ended up loving because we watched it out of order. But because you echoing back to like, yeah, because those do go well together and they ended up pairing well together, right? We actually really get a lot of that. But also like if we look at where those are at, that's season 2, episode 3, and season 1, episode 5. Literally the episode after this, which would have been in this run of form, as well as in season 2, episode 3, like that fall off happens around episode 7.
I guess you're right.
So like it is funny that you're like, yeah, it's about on that level. It's like, yeah, because those were good and also part of this vibe. But yeah, pure, like just with the funeral and stuff, I think that elevates it a step above those.
Yes,
yeah,
agreed.
Yeah, so as for why I rank it this way, I think I described it a little bit that way, of like, because of the funeral as this big scene and the seeds it lays for all of the different character arcs that it goes through after this, like with Bobby, with Jacoby, with like because we talked about that a lot, like that was a recurring theme of this episode, is like laying seeds for the character arcs that they're going to go on, right? That's part of why I rate this so highly. The reason why it's so separated out from those other 2 episodes that were there is because, again, I do rate season 3 pretty highly, and I think that we just watched the weakest episodes of season 3 that were in between it. And then outside of that, one of my favorite sequences was in the entire show was in season 2, episode 20, so that kind of has to be high. And I think that episode is about nearly at the same level as this stuff, except it also includes that sequence.
Yeah.
So that's why I put that there. So yeah, that pretty much is as for why this is rated where it's at, because like a lot of the stuff kind of is in this realm, and it's just like from here on out, it's all stuff of this caliber, and season 3, which is a weird thing to compare. Like, it is the same thing, but it is different. It's the same but different, right?
Yes.
And so it's hard to really compare those two. It's not quite the same as apples to oranges, but it is like comparing like a Granny Smith to a Fuji, right?
Yeah.
They're like so different.
They're different, yeah.
Like you'd still say you ate an apple, but like when you're like, oh, this specific Granny Smith is better than this specific Fuji, but this Granny Smith is worse than that. It's like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Right? And so like from here on out, that's pretty much just like vibes of like how I felt about every episode is pretty much where we're going from here. It's no longer in the realm like, and it hasn't been for a hot minute. It's no longer in the realm of like, here's where this is better. It's like, it's all fucking good, and we're just steamrolling to masterpiece territories of episodes coming up. Like it's just, I don't know what else to tell you. It's the vibe, you know? Like, it's fucking good. Like, it's 8.5, 9 out of 10. Like, right? Like,
I'm excited.
It's been 8.5 for a while now. And so it's like, at that point, it's all taste. Yeah, I can't defend my decisions at this point anymore. So what do you think is going to happen in the next episode we see? And this is actually interesting to ask that for you because of where this sits.
Yeah. So this next episode, without spoiling it, is
24.
Yeah, it is. Ooh, what am I gonna get? Like, what am I missing? Like, I guess I'm missing. Oh, this is around the time.
You're missing about every other episode of season 1, and then at a run of episodes in season 2 at the start.
So I guess I'm missing like some of the drug stuff. And maybe it's more of like One-Eyed Jack's, more information. Oh, we're probably gonna get more Audrey in this episode. We're probably going to get I imagine it is more Josie Catherine. I want to see more confrontation between those two. I feel like I'm still missing some more confrontation in that aspect. So that's what I'm guessing is going to happen in that episode. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. What do you think Twin Peaks is about?
Twin Peaks is just echoes of society, Mac. It's just echoes of things that happen time and time again, but no one learns anything from the past. That's what Twin Peaks is about. Oh wait, I should have said I missed an opportunity. Twin Peaks is about layers. Twin Peaks is about onions and how everyone is an onion and everyone has layers. That's what Twin Peaks is about.
I don't hate that. Okay, so I have with the way we're watching it, something that we talked about it a little bit, but like, yeah, it's about like echoes of society and how society refuses to learn its fucking lesson. But I think that there's an aspect to that of like, we had talked about it where like in juxtaposition of the episode that came before this of like people not knowing what goes on in each house, but like still kind of knowing something's going on, right?
Yeah.
But like, it really is about the way that we will choose, like to talk about layers, right? Like, we will choose a layer to focus on or believe in, and then only look at that and not let anything else disrupt that layer that we're in, right? Which is what they've done in this episode. Like, pretty clearly, that's what this episode's about. But then, like, the episode before that, it's like
was
cool.
Also about that, yeah.
So it's like about just choosing what we're looking at versus like actually looking at a full picture, and how we keep doing that, and that's what allows stuff like this to happen.
Right. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I think that does it for us. So, yes. Oh, I was about to say, I've been back. like as if this was like a Res Please episode. Because that's how we used to end those. Whoa.
Yeah, you're right.
Whoa, I just had a deja vu hard moment. Sorry. Save the pine weasel.
And brush your teeth. Okay.
All right. So we do have to rush this one, but
yes.
Okay. So
rush hour time.
Yeah. Let's go. Fuck, marry, kill. Let's go. Maddie Ferguson, Leo, and
oh my god.
And let's see who should be the third one. Maddie Ferguson, Leo, and
Bobby.
Oh, Bobby's good. I was gonna say Bernard because I don't think we ever see him again.
Oh, okay. You know, put Bernard in there. Well, Bobby has plenty of chances.
Yeah. This is Bernard's chance.
Okay, fuck, marry, kill. Okay, I'm going to marry Maddie.
Yep.
I think that is objectively the correct choice. She's a sweet girl.
If you want to say lore accurate, accurate, you kill her.
Yeah, get Mac. No. Oh man. Okay. As much as it pains me to, I would like to fuck Leo. He looks very good in this episode.
Yes.
Quite dashing. And obviously, I guess I'll have to kill Bernard as a result. But you know what? He die anyway. He dies anyway, right?
Leo kills him.
I don't have to feel. Yeah, I don't have to feel bad about that. No. So there you go.
Yeah, no, that's exactly my list as well. I'm not going to kill Maddie. I adore her. I love her so much. She doesn't deserve that. Marry any day of the week, because Leo. I would not marry Leo the abuser, but I would fuck him. It would be. Yeah. It would be a good time.
It would be a good time.
Also, like, he has that like one night stand experience. Like, we see him go off and do stuff with other people. Yeah, like he had an ad in fucking Flesh World. But like, you know, he'll know what he's doing, and like if he keeps that sweater on, he can do whatever. So yeah, sorry, Bernard, you're gonna die.
Yeah, he's gonna die.
Yeah. We're exactly aligned on that. Okay. So now it's ganged married pirate. Okay. Ganged married pirate. Well, okay, I'm gonna keep Maddie in the married category because the sweet girl, she's gotta stay there. Now gang or pirate? Now that is an interesting because like part of me wants to put
like Leo could go either way. I feel he could go either pirate or gang, but like I want to put him in the best possible position that he will succeed in, kind of deal. And I do think that he is a capable gang member. I think he would be pretty high up there. I think he would be the pusher kind of deal. I think he would do really well in that role. Bernard as a pirate, I think makes sense because he's like a lackey. Like he doesn't seem like he's high up the chain. I don't think he would do very well in gang life. Like I do think he's a pirate, but he's not a special pirate. He's just a crew member kind of pirate who does what he's told, it seems like. So that's where I'll put him there.
He reminds me in that scene of like the goofball pirates of the Pirates of the Caribbean. Do you know the two?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He seems like one of them, right?
Okay. Yeah.
That said, I'm torn because like I don't think Maddie is married though.
Yes,
she should be.
She's not.
Someone should wife her up, but like, she's not giving. I don't think she gives "I'm married" vibes.
Fair, that's fair.
Right?
Yep. Yeah.
I think clearly Leo does.
Yeah.
In the worst kind of way.
In the worst kind of way. Yep. Exactly.
Like that guy's married and it clearly views his wife as a bang maid.
Yes.
But like
you just gotta look at him and you get that vibe from him.
The problem is with his hair and the way he handles that axe, he's such a good pirate.
Yeah. You know what? Wait, you're so right with the hair. I did not consider Leo's hair.
The hair and the axe in that scene, it's like Leo is the king of all three.
You're right.
He is the married gang pirate. But like
he is.
So like it's really tough of knowing where to put him. So I do think I have to agree with you just because like I think Bernard would probably fit into gang because he literally is right like he's there. He's a mule. He's someone who could get burned very easily.
Fair. Yeah,
and he does. Gang, right?
Yeah.
And so and I don't think Maddie is a pirate, so like she has to be married, even though I don't think that's correct. Because like I don't think that's correct. She's not a pirate. At best, she's gang, but like even then, not really. Like
not a great gang member. Yeah, I can see her doing stuff because like she did like that whole scheming with Donna and James. It wasn't a good scheme. It wasn't a good scheme, but she still did it, right? And so like she could be a gang member in that sense, right?
Like the type to like plan a hit on somebody else's turf or something like that. Yeah. I could see that. Because like I think Leo out of the group gives the biggest married vibes, just not in a positive way.
Yes, that's fair.
I think he has to be married, and she's. Oh, but then they're both fighting for gang spot. Yeah, that doesn't work. Bernard's absolutely gang. So like, I did say that he reminds me of the two pirates. Okay, Maddie is gang. Leo is married and Bernard is pirate.
Okay. I like your choice. I like your choices here.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going less what I want for them and more the vibes that they actually give off.
Fair
because
enough.
If it's what I want for them, Maddie has to be married. Like someone needs to wife her up. Get her out of that house. Whatever you do, get her out of that house.
Oh, goodness.
Okay.